Matthew 1:21 through 23. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. Now all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is, God is with us. The verse referenced by the writer of Matthew is Isaiah 7:14. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive, and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Now let's look at the context of this verse. To do so, we need to read the verses before and after this text. If we read Isaiah chapters 1 to 7 leading up to this verse, we find the following information. At the death of Solomon, the Jewish nation split into two monarchies. One was called the Kingdom of Judah, and the capital city of it was Jerusalem. The other kingdom was called Israel, and its capital was Samaria. The king of Judah was named Asa, and the king of Israel was named Pekah. Isaiah tells us that King Pekah had joined with the king of Syria named Rezin, and they had assembled two great armies that were marching towards Judah in an attempt to conquer it. At this point in the story, Isaiah comes to King Ahaz to tell him that everything is going to be okay, and to prove it, God is going to give a sign. Isaiah 7:15 gives us more context. It tells us when the victory over the other two kings will take place after the sign. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land that thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both her kings. Context has revealed that King Asa and the kingdom of Judah was about to be attacked by two other kings. Isaiah said a boy child will be born as a sign that the other two kings would be defeated. This would happen before the child reached the age of accountability. This was not a prophecy of a child being born 700 years later, as that would not be a sign to King Asa, who would be long time dead. In context, this is not a prophecy of the birth of Jesus, but of a child being born then. Read Isaiah 8:2 and 3 for that birth. Now let's take a more in-depth look at Isaiah 7:14. The verse says, Behold, a virgin shall conceive. This seems pretty clear-cut, doesn't it? The problem is that the original Hebrew text, the word is Alma, which does not designate a virgin, but only a young woman. Had Isaiah meant virgin, he would have used the word Bethulah, as he did in chapter 62, verse 5. He did know the difference and used Alma in Isaiah 7:14. The writer of Matthew is not totally at fault. He used the inferior Greek translation of the Old Testament called the Septuagint, which falsely translated Alma into the Greek Parthenos. The Septuagint also mistranslated the tense as shall conceive, when in reality, in the original Hebrew, it is with child. In other words, already pregnant. It is also noteworthy that not one time in all the New Testament is Jesus called Emmanuel. But in the next chapter of Isaiah, the child prophesied is born and called Emmanuel. Isaiah 8:8. The virgin birth soon became a cornerstone doctrine of the early church. For that reason, translation after translation for the last 1900 years have perpetuated the error of Matthew. Until modern times, to do otherwise would have resulted in burning at the stake and hurt Bible sales. Only recently have a few versions had the intestinal fortitude to honestly translate the original Hebrew to read as written by Isaiah the prophet.